So we have a lot. I'm good. How are you? We have 131 pages for Barry Morphew. He was just arrested for the murder of his wife, Suzanne. Now, she had gone missing on 2020, Mother's Day of 2020, to be more precise. He was arrested for her murder and was about to start trial for her murder when they dropped charges. They didn't have a body. They did not have a body. They dropped charges without prejudice so they could charge him again, and they promised to do so when they had a body. This is Suzanne. I know there's a lot of people that know her face more than her name. That's why I'm putting this up. So I put the video up of his arrest too. But when I'm reading this, I'm not going to be seeing the chat as much. I'm going to be looking at the document and reading from the document. So please be patient with me if I don't see what you guys are typing. It's not because I'm just being rude. It's because I'm reading. And there's a lot. 131 pages. Yeah. It's really weird how the banner shows up in such different places for us. Like for me right now, it's at the very top of the screen. It was at the very bottom. Hold on. I don't know why my connection is getting so shaky today. I'm really hoping we can get through these documents without it giving us a problem. It's showing me yellow right now. Yeah, she was a very, very beautiful woman. They had 2 daughters together. 2 daughters who stood by Barry as he's claimed his innocence. They even held his hands as he got released on that first trial. And they have been by his side ever since. No, we have a heat weather warning. I don't know if that's affecting it or what, but we'll try to get through this. Okay. So, like I said, this is where my focus will be in the document, so I'm not being rude. I'm just reading. Good afternoon. Let's see here. So here we have the warrant of arrest for Barry. See his date of birth. Okay. Let me show you guys who Barry is. I actually have his arrest photo too. Thank you. There you go. There's our guy. They were a very beautiful couple. They really were. So here's his charges. We have murder in the first degree, a class 1 felony, tampering with physical evidence, a class 6 felony, attempt to influence a public servant, a class 4 felony. He does look rough, doesn't he? Thank you. Now bail, I believe was at 3 million? Let me find his bail amount. I just had his bail amount. I can't find it. Where did it go? I'll get back to the bail amount. But I don't think he's going to be posting bail. That's just my opinion, of course. 3, yeah, that's what I thought it was 3. That's what I was saying. Thank you for confirming that. Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. Or bad luck with that. We don't want him to post bail. I'm surprised he didn't flee when he got out the first time. Okay. Now keep in mind, he was arrested in Arizona. The crime, yeah, me too, Sue. The crime was in Colorado. I didn't know that he had attempted to bribe a public servant. He also took affirmative steps to conceal the murder in the months following. Thankfully, he did a horrible job. Okay. Keep in mind, this is an FBI case. So they have down here, Suzanne took clear, articulate steps in January 2020 in attempts to separate from and divorce her husband, Barry. She told her family and close friends about her intentions, secretly recorded her notes of abuse in her phone because Barry monitored it, confronted Barry in arguments that she secretly recorded with help from a friend, and finally sent him a text 4 days before she disappeared saying that she was done. Let's handle this civilly. Which, side note, Barry kept a screenshot of this. He saved it in his phone. So not the brightest bulb in the bunch, but here we are. Barry, however, initially represented to investigators from CBI, FBI, and CCSO that his marriage with Suzanne was perfect. Yeah, that's what they all say. And that she had no intention of leaving him. Again, that's what they all say. Barry's statements about his actions on the days before and after Suzanne's disappearance have been proven to be false and misleading by this investigation. Barry knowingly destroyed evidence that his relationship with Suzanne was deteriorating, and he was involved in her disappearance and homicide. Her bicycle and helmet, which I believe I have a picture of that. Let me check. I thought I had the picture. Did I not? I guess not. I thought I had it. I do not have it. Okay. I'm not ignoring you guys. And I see the thing is doing the thing again. It's red. Can you guys hear me? Something's going on with our internet. It keeps going red.
Is the PlayStation on?
I have no idea. I'm in here. Yeah, she did have a pen that recorded stuff, and she used it, thankfully. Bless you.
Thank you. I just disconnected my phone from it.
Thank you. So Suzanne's bicycle and helmet were recovered close to the residence, discarded, before Barry left town in the early morning hours of May 10th, 2020. Again, she went missing and she was unalived on Mother's Day of 2020. I thought it was, but it keeps going red for me, so I don't know why. Thursday of 2020. I thought it was, but it keeps going red for me, so I don't know why. I crop it because all we could see is the handlebars in it, so never mind. I gotta crop it. I'm gonna put it back on Suzanne's face. I would rather see her than her alleged murdering husband. Okay, so her bicycle and helmet were recovered May 10th. I said discarded before Barry left town in the early morning hours of May 10th, 2020. The investigation today indicates that these items were not indicative of an accident, an animal attack, or Suzanne being a runaway, or her unaliving herself, or her being the victim of a stranger abductions. All records check available to the FBI and law enforcement indicate as of April 30th, 2021, that Suzanne has not used a credit card, nor her social security number, nor has she been contacted by law enforcement, nor flown a plane, nor crossed the national border. She had not established utilities or housing, nor otherwise continued in her normal pattern of life for over 355 days. Based upon legal supposition, Suzanne Morphew, based on the lack of proof of life, is deceased. Within the month or so of Barry moving Suzanne and their daughters from Indiana to Colorado in April of 2018, Suzanne sent a Facebook message of "Howdy, stranger," to her high school friend, Jeff Lidler. I probably pronounced that wrong. Now, he resides in Michigan. They began communicating regularly in 2018 and eventually began meeting each other in 2019. She traveled to meet him in New Orleans, Indianapolis, Dallas, Michigan, and Florida, where they had been intimate. By September 2019, Barry took clear steps to determine if Suzanne was having an affair by stalking her at their own residence in Salida, Colorado. And again, guys, I'm not ignoring if you're typing. I'm just reading. The only way to get through all these pages fast is for me just to read. So, mods, I'm counting on you. Okay. Now, this was witnessed by Suzanne's closest friend, Sheila Oliver. And in January 2019, Barry took Suzanne's phone from her when they were in a resort in Mexico while she was talking to Libler. But he was unable to determine who he was. He did not know his identity. On May 8, 2020, Suzanne saved in the notes section of her phone that Barry accused her of having a boyfriend on March 6th of 2020. On May 9th of 2020, Suzanne's last proof of life occurred at 2:00 p.m. when she was messaging Libler a selfie. While Barry returned to the residence, Suzanne did not respond to Libler's return messages at 2:44 or 2:46. At the same time, Barry admitted to running around their property with a gun and placing his phone in airplane mode at 2:47. Some of you guys may remember this. Hey, Hopi. Some of you guys may remember this because that's when he said he was in airplane mode, running around their property, shooting at squirrels. Like I said, not the brightest guy, but here we are. So the computer activity from Barry's Ford F-350, the activity from his cell phone and statements he made to law enforcement in multiple interviews confirmed that from 2:47 p.m. on May 9, 2020 until 5:37 a.m. on May 10, 2020, he took steps to dispose of evidence in Suzanne's disappearance and her death, and also to create a false alibi for himself and stage a crime scene. In recent months, following the presentation of evidence, a false alibi of himself, and a stage a crime scene evidence by the FBI agents to Barry, he has changed critical details about his activities in the 2 p.m. hour on May 9th in attempts to match the evidence. Since January 2021, Barry had admitted to chasing a chipmunk with a gun around his house while Suzanne was outside sunbathing, shooting a deer with a tranquilizer dart to explain a dart or needle cap that was found in his dryer, which they found when they searched the house because he left one in his shorts pocket that he was seen wearing. And he left the trank in his pocket. Again, not the brightest bulb, but whatever. Here we are. Now we have disposing of the tranquilizer solution during a trip to Broomfield, following a bull elk down Highway 30 in the 4 a.m. hour on May 10th to explain why his truck would be headed west, where the helmet of Suzanne's bike was also discarded. Excuse me? I do know about it. I'm reading from the documents of his arrest, which just happened. I don't like to put too much personal in it. I try to put the facts out. Okay. So Barry's involvement in Suzanne's disappearance and death can be organized into the initial scene and interview, Section 1. Suzanne's affair and her attempts to leave him, Section 2. Barry's early statements to CBI. Like I said, this is 130 some pages. It's a lot to go through. So on May 10th, 2020, at approximately 5:58, Deputy Damon Brown was notified by dispatch to contact Scott Ritter. Later corrected to identify Martin Ritter. So they got a name wrong. By phone regarding a possible missing person who also has cancer. Dispatch further informed that the missing person was named Suzanne Morphew, and that her husband Barry was driving back from Denver and did not have cell service. What's so funny? I'm sitting here literally talking about a woman who was murdered by her husband, and you're laughing. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I'm here now. I'll cover what I want when I want. Okay, so Suzanne went missing between 8 and 9 of that same morning. Now, from Deputy Brown's report, he attempted to contact Barry at 6:05 p.m. without success. Then at 7:10 p.m. when he spoke with Barry. Barry stated that the last time he saw his wife was at the residence at 5 a.m. the morning of May 10th. And again, he did a lot of sketchy stuff at that time too. He even faked a job site time. He was driving down for a job site, but they later verified that as a lie. And caught him on video with those same shorts that he happened to wash with a tranquilizer dart in his pocket. So we have Deputy Brown and Sergeant Lamine Melinex. They drove to the Morphew residence and turned onto the road at 7:31 p.m. They drove slowly, looking along the steep incline along the shoulder for the bicycle. As Deputy Brown turned the corner, he saw that the Blue Mountain bike down near the ravine close to the bottom of the hill with the front tire pointed downwards toward the creek. I don't know if you guys remember when this happened, but a lot of people had thought that she would be found in that creek. She wasn't. Due to the steepness of the incline, the bike should have been damaged if an accident occurred. And that just paints another picture because he literally disposed of the bike in that spot and then decided to bring the helmet elsewhere. When Deputy Brown moved the bike up from the path, he noticed that the front brake pad was seized and the handlebars were turned completely to the left, causing the brake cables to wrap around the bike frame. Deputy Brown and Sergeant Molinex examined the dirt shoulder of the CR-225 immediately above the area where the bike was recovered and did not observe any braking marks or skid marks from a bicycle. Everything okay? I'm trying not to look at the chat. In examining the front rim of the bike tire, they observed no damage to the ribs or spokes, which he expected to see if the brake had locked, and the weight from a rider would have been going down headfirst over the edge. He clearly did not think this through. Deputy Brown wrote in his notes, "After all the observations, I started to question if something criminal had occurred, as it looked like the bike had been purposely thrown to this location." Yep. There's a lot redacted in this one, too. There's a lot redacted. Deputy Brown walked through the Morphew residence with redacted present. He observed the residence was well kept and orderly with the exception of one guest bedroom, later identified as redacted, Colorado. Now, the master bedroom is where it gets interesting. What appeared to be one .22 caliber round of ammunition unfired on the floor next to the bed was found. Brown then looked under the bed to inquire where said ammunition had possibly come from and observed what appeared to be a rifle storage case in the main floor foyer area of a storage closet. Deputy Brown observed what appeared to be a reddish-brown substance that was smeared midway on the side of the closet wall. In the kitchen area, Deputy Brown observed a laptop computer and documents scattered in the laptop computer. In the three-car garage area, Deputy Brown discovered two white SUVs, later identified as Suzanne's personal vehicle and Redacted's personal vehicle. At the time of her disappearance, someone Redacted was going on a road trip. Again, there's too much redacted in here for me to really give you much information. They also observed that there was home surveillance cameras mounted on the exterior of the residence. Deputy Brown described that the placement of the mounted exterior cameras are ideal for viewing any persons or activity coming onto or leaving the Morphew property. Yeah, a lot of redacted. Too much. Then we go to 9:37 p.m., where Commander Avila brought Barry into the house and advised Deputy Brown that they were looking for a piece of clothing from the residence for the search dogs to locate Suzanne. Barry walked to the master bedroom and pointed to the clothing on the floor in the closet. Deputy Brown observed the mountain bike gloves and padded shorts in a pile. That's when they took the pair of shorts. Deputy Brown was walking in the driveway when Deputy DeFero told him that they were barefoot marks outside or inside of the bucket of the Bobcat. Deputy Brown went with him to examine what was found. That the cutting blade of the bucket of the Bobcat appeared to be newly replaced, along with the nuts and bolts. Thank you. Now we switch to Sergeant Mullenix's report. Sergeant Mullenix documented that he was present when Deputy Brown was speaking to Barry at approximately 7:10 p.m. over the phone. Barry said that Suzanne rides her bike regularly and usually leaves around 8 or 9 a.m. Upon inspecting the bike with Deputy Brown, Sergeant Mullenix activated his body camera, as did Deputy Brown. Mullenix stated that the bike appeared out of place. You'd think he would have thought to damage it before he threw it down there. Sergeant Mullenix and Brown walked down the ravine as they called out for Suzanne. They walked a few hundred yards along the ravine without finding anything of interest. Sergeant Mullenix asked Deputy Brown to go to the Morphew residence while they stayed with the bike, which Deputy Brown moved up to the road. Deputy Brown contacted dispatch, and they had no cell service and asked for the local hospital to be checked for Suzanne. Dispatch informed Deputy Brown that Suzanne had not been to the hospital. Not anymore. She was missing in 2020 on Mother's Day. Her husband was just rearrested for her murder. These are the arresting documents that we're going through. This is out of Colorado. They also pinged Suzanne's cell phone. Dispatch informed Mullenix that the cell phone appeared to be off and the last known activity was at 4:23 a.m. of the present day, with the general location about 11.5 miles west of a cell phone tower in Poncha Springs, Colorado. More redacted. I hate redacted. The bike was identified as being Suzanne's by her daughter's boyfriend. He said that that was hers. He found no scratches or damage to the bike. They sure are. And I hope since he got off of the last trial and this one, that he started preparing them, because they lost a mother and now they lost the father who took away their mother. But he's been doing everything but that. Yeah, they redacted a lot of this, you guys. This goes on Mother's Day to say she got text messages from her daughters. They also tried to call their mother, but it went directly to voicemail. One of the daughters then got a call from their father asking if she contacted Suzanne. Redacted advised him that she attempted to but was not able to reach her. Barry asked Redacted to let him know if she was later able to reach Suzanne. Redacted stated that Suzanne mountain biked regularly during the afternoon hours, often during a wide trail across the highway. Suzanne normally took her cell phone, sunglasses, and blue backpack hydration on the bike rides. When asked if there was any concern with her parents' relationship, the child denied any concerns or issues. When asked if there was any reason why Suzanne may leave the area, she denied that Suzanne would ever leave for extended hours of time. She also denied of any recent incidents between Suzanne and anybody else. It's beautiful. It's utterly and totally beautiful. 100%. To think of that area and him talking about running around trying to hunt deer and squirrels and whatever else, and that she was outside, it's scary to think that that was the last place she saw. Such a beautiful place and turning into a nightmare. Trying to figure out how deep into the documents we want to go because so much of it's redacted. Okay, here's the search of the Puma Path residence. On May 11, 2020, pursuant to an authorized search warrant obtained while assisting with the search of the exterior of the residence, they located what appeared to be suspect blood on an apron in the garage near the east side of the three-car garage. Additionally, it was noted that Eurify and other investigators that there was a Bobcat skid steer parked in a parkway area driveway next to the west of the Morphew residence. There was also a flatbed trailer, which was in the tilt position. That trailer bed had loose gravel and dirt on it. The trailer did not have a jack on it. I think the reason most of this is important is because he said he was at a job site when Suzanne went missing, but he lied about that, as he did for many other things. Now, Suzanne's helmet. On May 13th of 2020, search teams located what they believed to be the bicycle helmet of Suzanne that she would have been wearing at the time of the alleged bike ride. They located a photo of Suzanne prior to the date with Suzanne wearing the helmet, documenting its teal color. This item was located at the following GPS coordinates. I'm not going to bother reading them. Now, this was approximately 0.84 miles northwest of the site of the bicycle, approximately 10 meters south of the Highway 50, and about a mile and a half from the Morphew residence. Inside the helmet, law enforcement located a piece of paper in the top portion of the helmet with Suzanne's name, phone number, and address, as well as Barry's. Well, he locked himself in that hotel room for many hours. He went to the work site for less than half an hour. Then he's on video at a dumpster at the hotel, and he locked himself in the hotel room for hours. So I remember that. The bleach, and then, yeah. He lied saying he was at the work site. He was literally just there for like a few minutes and then left. They really do get down to all this. We got details and everything. Ones that aren't redacted anyways. On May 13, 2020, search teams were still searching areas in the proximity of Suzanne's bicycle and helmet, as well as law enforcement driving roads in the areas attempting to locate Suzanne. During this effort, law enforcement located what they believed to be fresh tire impressions and a piece of cloth with a reddish-brown substance on it. Also located in the area of the piece of cloth, tire impressions were also located. These tire impressions were cased on May 14, 2020, by deputies with the CCSO. As of the present date, these items appear to be unrelated to Suzanne. Now, this is the crime scene report through the FBI special agent talking about the inside of Barry's truck. The interior of Barry's F-350 on May 12, 2020. The interior of the truck was cluttered with several personal items. The area of the dash was dusty and dirty. Regarding Suzanne's white Range Rover in May 19, 2020, there were personal items to include Suzanne's driver's license and credit cards. Throughout the vehicle, items from the interior were pulled out by sections or areas, and they had photographically documented on butcher paper. Some of the items collected included a woman's jacket, a knit cap in the rear, pairs of sunglasses, and a key in the glove compartment. Spot chemicals were also found on the front passenger floorboard, and a bicycle service receipt as well. Regarding the tranquilizer dart cap on May 19th, a plastic needle cover was located in the dryer drum. This was collected by the CCSO along with the additional items and swabs from different areas. The needle cover was recovered from sheets from redacted inside the dryer. Essentially his shorts, because, again, he's not the brightest. Suzanne told numerous close friends, her daughters and Barry, that she wanted out of her marriage. Interesting. You guys remember how we were just reading a bit ago and the daughter said that there was no problems in the marriage. But we have down here that her daughters did know. I can't even imagine the guilt that they're feeling after knowing that and then saying they didn't know it. Now, she suspected Barry of having affairs for years and kept her affair very secretive to protect her daughters and family of Jeff Libler. A small portion of interviews and evidence of her attempts to leave Barry and her affair follows. Okay, so this is really getting into it. We have the interview with Sheila Oliver on May 11, 2020. Detective Burgess conducted a phone interview with Sheila Oliver, Suzanne's best friend, who lives in Indiana. Sheila had constant communication with Suzanne via text message and Snapchat until Friday, May 9th, 2020, the day before she disappeared. Sheila said that Suzanne promptly checks her Snapchat messages, and Sheila was worried that Suzanne did not read 3 Snapchat messages from her on May 9th, 2020 at 6:40 and 6:48 p.m. Suzanne had been very excited about the wedding of Sheila's daughter on May 10th. Suzanne was helping Sheila to prepare and eager to watch it online. Sheila provided texts with Suzanne with the following. We have March 25th, 2020 from, March 25th, 2020. I'm like, what the hell? How could that be? She's already disappeared. How is she sending text messages? Hi, Lori. Suzanne had said, taking care of myself physically in a stressful marriage. Redacted and I have a very tough talk yesterday. She's wary of the tensions here. She knows how he is towards me and almost begged me to divorce him. Okay, I forgot about this part. Jesus. Sheila replied, "What does he want? Have you talked any more about splitting?" Suzanne continues, "He threatens, but I've never come out and said I wanted it till today. He thinks I'm holding on till after Redacted graduates. He probably thinks I'm not strong enough to do it, given the finances." Suzanne said she even mentioned a restraining order. "I'm sick. I had conversations like that with my 16-year-old. Sheila responded, "He's nuts." Suzanne in turn said, "It's Jekyll and Hyde again." Pretty much told him, "I can't be healthy and stay in this." Sheila, "What did he say?" Suzanne, "He threatens to come home and pack. He won't speak of the divorce, begging for another chance. I'm so torn, but in my heart, I know who he is." You said I was just getting ready to say a story that we hear over and over and over again. During the interview, Sheila also told Detective Burgess that she was so concerned with Barry's behavior that she purchased a spy pen for Suzanne, which she gave her in January 2020 when she met up with Suzanne in Florida. This device was designed to record conversations covertly. The downloaded audio files of the spy pen conversations will be summarized in section 4. That should be interesting. Let me see if I can jump to section 4. Okay. So the spy pen recordings. On May 23rd, 2020, Detective, I'm going to mispronounce this, Heights Julian, transported and seized memos and audio recordings pen to the Colorado Springs Police Department Digital Forensic Unit. Detective Brian Rogers conducted the search and data recovery from the memo pen. Some of the audio files on the pen were deleted. However, 2 of those deleted audio files were retrieved during the search and analysis by Detective Rogers. On May 24th, 2020, Detective Heise Julian, again, I know I'm saying that wrong, started reviewing the audio recordings on the pen. The recordings appear to run from February 2020 to March 2020, based upon the context. Thank you for the follows. Yeah, Barry was just arrested again. This time, he's to stand trial. He was just arrested a couple days ago. I have the arrest video on my page. Okay, so when they started reviewing the audio recording, the recordings appear to run from February to March of 2020. Suzanne communicated with 2 different male voices, and one self-identified as Barry, the other identified as by Suzanne as Jeff. One of 2 conversations between Suzanne and Jeff sounded to be intimate in nature. The conversations between Suzanne and Barry is confrontational and their voices are raised. Under the file numbered March 22nd, 2020, Suzanne appears to place her recording pen in the truck of Barry as he took a trip to Pueblo. The pen recorded him listening to multiple episodes of forensic files, to include the unalivings of Mary Lee Wilson and Donna Payant by Lanuel Smith. The murder of Vicki Lynn Hoskins, who went missing after riding her bike. He was researching what he planned to do with Suzanne. Again, like I said, not the brightest bulb, but here we are. I got chills. So Hoskins' sister finds the bike and discussed it was found in the middle of the road. The case began as a missing child. Her family pleaded on TV for her return. The discussion also included the location of her body being in Tucson at a remote location, how animals had scavenged, trigger warning, her bones, and investigators trying to determine when she was unalived. Barry further listened to the forensic files case of Walter Scott, a man that went missing but was later determined to be a homicide victim of James Williams. Then again, if we were judged on what we listened to, and like if I was judged on what's in my phone, it would be done. I would be in so much trouble. They would not understand. Like, it's for true crime purposes, not listening to true crime for how to get away with murder, of course. But, you know. We always say if we get busted with our phones, we're in big trouble. Okay, so it goes on and it's telling the details of Walter Scott being married to someone named Joanne. He had an affair, and the woman with a woman named Suzanne. I know, right, Nita? Did he know that before he picked this one to listen to? Meanwhile, Joanne was cheating with a man named James Williams. James unalived his first wife, staged a car accident, and married Joanne after unaliving Scott. Walter, who was reported to not be acting as himself in the days prior to the disappearance. This is just getting really messy. He wants to hear his case where he would have checked the... Yeah, I know, right? Like I said, he's not the brightest, but... I mean... Now, where are we at? Okay, after that, there's a phone call recorded between Barry and Suzanne in which Suzanne calls Barry Shirley, his mother's name. After he tells her how to cook. I see. Barry asks Suzanne why she has to be so mean to him. Much of the conversation is unintelligible because of the truck noise. After that, Barry listened to another Forensic Files episode of Homicide Investigations during the 5-hour recording session. I wonder if she listened to them. When she got her spy pen out of the truck that she put it in, she placed it in his truck to see what he was doing. Could you imagine listening to that back and hearing your husband listening to a case about someone named after you? Mm-hmm. She was. 100%. I don't want a need for a spy pen, but I think, every once in a while it's probably good to consider a spy pen. Okay, next we have another recording on the spy pen, and this is an argument with Barry. This is March 2020. Suzanne told Barry the following, and this is in quotations. "This is all I hear every day. This is all I hear every day. What I'm not, what I should think, I cannot talk, undecipherable. I'm not listening to that anymore. Listen to me, listen to me." Barry interrupts. Listen to me. "I have lived for years being told how I should feel, how I should act, how I should look, what I should drink, what I should eat, what I should put in my body, and what I shouldn't put in my body. Undecipherable. I fell into this. This is not undecipherable. Controlling. We're talking. It's not okay. Front and back." So clearly the whole conversation. Oh, Desiree, get this. He was just arrested. They finally just arrested him. So these are the documents. The problem is a lot of it is redacted. Why is this not charging my phone? Hold on. There we go. Now it is. Don't want it to go dead. Are you? Well, now they have him arrested in Arizona. That's where he was at. But they're trying to bring him back to Colorado to face this. This is a very crazy case. Did it? I'm always breaking him. Aaron tells me, you got to be more careful with that. And I'm just like, I'll blame one of the cats. All right. So let's get back into this. If you guys haven't seen the arrest video, it's on my page. Even though it was only a little short video, I still felt we had to put it on there because some of us have been waiting to see this man get arrested again for a while. So go later on in the conversation, Suzanne and Barry start arguing. Suzanne says, "You want me to just..." Barry says, "No, I'm asking you to..." So this is going to go back and forth, so I'm not going to keep saying the name. So first, "You want me to just..." Barry says, "No, I'm asking you to..." Suzanne says, "Blindly to go into this. You don't have to blindly do anything. I'll make plenty of money this year to pay you back." Suzanne then replies, "I don't want to talk about it since you yelled at me the other day." He replies, "Okay, I will make plenty of money this summer to pay you back. Probably within a month. This is something that I told you that was important, and you decided to go against my wishes." Suzanne later stated it's all about money. Then she added, 80% of our arguments are because of money. It's money, it's about money. At 1 hour, 17 minutes, Barry stated, "If you want your money, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to make plenty of money, and I told you it was important. You decided..." Why are they repeating it twice? "You decided to go against my wishes." Suzanne responded with words to the effect of, "Not against it. You brought it up and we talked about it." Oh, they got conversations of her and Jeff too. Now, Jeff is the person who she went to school with and when she had started an affair with. So here's the following synopsis of Suzanne's recording with Jeff that occurred during her February 2020 trip in Florida. Some of it is hard to hear in places, so they gave us a warning. Jeff is driving north on 75 during the conversation. Jeff talks about a potential job and says he can't take it. Suzanne asks why they mentioned the weather in Michigan in February. Interstate 75 just traveled north-south. Jeff and Suzanne appear to be talking about the possibility about trying to meet up around Valentine's Day. Suzanne seems to reference being sure that Barry would be at home and would not, or Barry would be at home at the time and would not show up. I think she did too. I really do. There is a reference in the Suzanne and Jeff conversation on Tuesday the 11th and Valentine's Day, as if they are still coming up and possibly talking about or making plans for those dates. And in parentheses, it says February 11th, 2020 was a Tuesday. We knew the yawning was going to start. It was a matter of time. I nervous yawn. At 21:08, Suzanne takes a call on speakerphone. She stated, "Hi, sweetie, I'm good. How about you?" Suzanne and the male, presumably Jeff, discuss her trip in Florida. Yeah, the TikTok shop is great. She later stated that Barry was flying to Florida, and she thought, "It's just weird stuff, this whole Valentine's Day thing." But I was kind of happy to hear that because maybe we are in the clear. Did Barry know of her plans with Jeff? Jeff replied, "Well, like I said, I don't want it to be a stressful thing. I just don't." Suzanne stated, "Jeff, come on. I'm the one who started the whole ball rolling." She added, "I mean, there's a lot that went on last week that I haven't told you about, and it's not good stuff. So I really think he feels bad about that too. You're not a homewrecker. You're my lover and my sweet friend and the man I love dearly, okay?" This is so sad. This is so sad. Jeff stated, "I won't. I just want you to be happy, that's all." Suzanne replied, "I'm looking at the man who makes me happy." Yeah, okay, it's just, I didn't expect these details to be in here. Yeah, it's just remarkably sad. All right, now the next section is about the tranquilizer. On March 19th, 2020, CCSO Deputy Scott Scoot was present during the search at 19057 Puma Path in the laundry room and was asked to collect the new dart box, which was empty, one plastic hypodermic cover, one new dart book from the safe in the garage, one dart from the box under the bench in the garage, amongst other items. Plastic cover was located by evidence search teams in the dryer, inside the sheets belonging to the bed. So they found more. It wasn't just the ones that was with his shorts. Did he just loosely place horse tranquilizers wherever he saw fit? I cannot believe this. Well, no, I can. It's just sad. It's sick, too. It then goes on to the search of May 22nd of 2020. At 9:05 a.m., pursuant to the issuance of a search warrant, search teams along with canine and canine handlers, bloodhound, man trackers, and necro searched the property at 6962 County Road 105, a site where Barry had been conducting earthwork since April of 2020. A local resident had reported heavy machinery being used late at night on Saturday, May 9th. During the search, 3 canines were ran blindly and individually across the property. Necro Search and the FBI Evidence Response Team worked with CCSO and CBI to remove portions of the poured concrete slab and search through the new construction. On May 23rd, 2020, a second excavation was conducted at the property in attempts to find the remains of Suzanne, and those results were negative. Hi, Connie. How are you? Thank you. Now it goes on talking about Facebook friend requests. I don't think that we need to go over that. Especially since so much of this is redacted. So they go into Barry's Verizon records on May 12th of 2020 and May 10th, 2020. And they're doing that to try to establish a pattern of life for Suzanne with her call detail records. Search warrants were served to Verizon for detailed records information to include all geolocation information on the following people: Suzanne Morphew, Barry Morphew, and then the redacted names, I'm guessing, other girls. To date, no evidence has been obtained to include outgoing phone calls, outgoing SMS, vehicle movement, sightings on video cameras, or sightings by independent witnesses other than Barry that Suzanne left the Morphew house on May 8th, 2020 at 7:06 p.m. Thank you. Now, in reviewing Barry's phone from CSI, they're talking about May 8th at 5:41 through May 10th. All 11 calls between Barry and Suzanne are outgoing from Barry to Suzanne. That's never a good sign. Did he literally stage every phone call? I wouldn't put it past him. Thank you. So we have 11 calls between Barry and Suzanne. Out of 58 voicemails on Barry's phone, none of them are from Suzanne. Couldn't fake those though, could you? Cannot fake a voicemail. Well, you can nowadays with AI and everything, but you couldn't back then. Barry deleted numerous calls between himself and Suzanne from May 4th and 5th of 2020. When asked by the FBI agents in April of 2021 why he deleted those calls, he said he did not recall doing so and he must have been freeing up space on his phone. Same thing we always hear. On January 7th, 2020, Barry's phone searched something I cannot repeat. I wish I would have read a little bit further ahead so I wouldn't have read that sentence at all. I cannot repeat this. It was something that we can't say on TikTok. Let's just put it at that. I can read this one though. Barry's phone searched older man, younger women relationships on YouTube. Yes, thank you, Desiree. I think it was the title of it that made me just essentially, yeah, sensual type. Yeah. It was just the title of it that got me. And I wasn't expecting that at all. On January 8th, 2020, Barry's phone searched the Facebook help page. I can't reset my account password because I can't access the email or mobile phone number on my account. And then it recovered from deleted web searches on Barry's phone. Excuse me. Okay. On January 8, 2020, Barry's phone searched the Facebook help. Oh, no, I already read that. On March 24, Jesus, Michelle, get your shit together. Okay, on January 24th, 2020, Barry's phone searched third base. As well as my first hand, let's just say career. And Dear Teen Diary, ninth grade, entry 14-YouTube. Recovered from a deleted web search on Barry's. I'm trying my best to read the words that I can't read to you guys. I'm trying. They're all sexual in nature. On January 25th, 2020, Barry's phone accessed another thing I cannot say. And find a cute girl near Salida. And come get dirty. Along with other such sites that were recovered from the deleted web searches on Barry's phone. I clearly did not know that I was going to be reading this part to y'all. On March 19th, 2020 at 6:44, a video on Barry's phone was taken of a prescription drug bottle of Suzanne's and it's redacted. On April 24th, 2020, Suzanne sent Barry the following message that was recovered from deleted images. This is from Suzanne saying, "Oh, I'm sure your mistress has you all happy now, so you can say you love me but bully me when you're with me. Yeah, that's love." Examiner Jim Stevens found the above image as one of Barry's likely swiped the message off his screen and swiped image was saved. This message was not recovered separately in Suzanne's iCloud or Barry's phone. Yeah, he is. All right, now we've got Barry's phone and other GPS sources. For the contest of examining data from Barry's phone, a comparison of the locations from his Ford F-350 as gathered from the return of the search warrant for telematics, together with the Verizon return from Suzanne's phone per search warrant return, are included for the dates of May 5th through May 10th. On May 6, 2020, Barry called Suzanne 6 consecutive times between 8:06 a.m. and 8:13 a.m. before she sent the aforementioned "I'm done, let's handle this civilly" message at 10:13 a.m. That message was recovered as a deleted message from Barry's phone. Barry. On May 6, 2020, from 2:43 p.m. to 5 p.m., Suzanne received 4 messages deleted from Barry's phone prior to seizure of his phone on May 13th, 2020, to where Barry referenced quote, "When I'm dead, going to see my Savior, and this life on earth is a mere grain of sand compared to eternity." The location activities registered by Barry's phone were normally high in frequency during the late nights and early morning hours of May 8th to 9th of 2020 and May 9th to 10th of 2020 while at the Morphew residence. They literally put all of this together. Yeah, I think so too. On May 9th, 2020 at 6:46 a.m., Barry's phone was taken out of airplane mode. Says the affiant knows that the airplane mode is a setting available on smartphones and other portable devices. When activated, this mode suspends the device's signal transmission. Technologies like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, this mode suspends the device's signal transmission. Technologies like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, effectively disabling all voice, text, and phone services. GPS may or may not be disabled. On May 10th, 2020, Barry's phone display came on and his device was unlocked at 3:56 a.m. On May 10th, 2020, from 3:25 to 3:48, the Ford F-350 registered 0 miles per hour with GPS at Morphew residence as the doors opened and closed multiple times. Special Agent Hoyland noted over 80 events involving the F-350 during that time frame. 80 events in a little over 20 minutes. I know, she's gorgeous. What were you putting in the truck there, Barry? The location data for Suzanne's phone last registered with a tower near the Morphew residence at 4:23 a.m. Further events of Barry's phone records are documented under the surveillance video Brownfield section. Video footage was collected by the Colorado Bureau of Investigations from the Holiday Inn Express on May 10th, 2020. The following timeline of events gives the surveillance video telematics of Barry's truck and his phone activities provided on May 10th. This is the part we're waiting for. What? It's freezing up. It shows green for me. Okay. Mine shows green for once. Try scrolling out and scrolling back in, see if that helps. So at 8:14 a.m., Barry's phone was at the Holiday Inn Express. At 8:41, he texted Suzanne, "I made it to Broomfield. Call me when you get a chance." At 8:46 a.m., Barry walked into the hotel carrying 2 white trash bags and a khaki backpack, a pair of boots and a dark-colored item, and a piece of clothing with blue teal coloring. And we've got a picture of this. It's very, very hard to see, so there's no point in me even trying to show you. It's very dark, but you can't even tell what it is. At 10:06 a.m., Barry exited a hotel room. He was carrying the charcoal long-sleeve shirt and 2 white bags and a pair of boots. He was working there in Broomfield. At 10:20, or he was pretending to be that day, but that's where the job site was at that time. At 10:20 a.m., the location of Barry's phone was near the lot of McDonald's, 625 Interlochen Boulevard, Broomfield, Colorado, at 10:22 a.m. The driver's door of the F-350 opened in the rear parking space of the same McDonald's lot. Sorry, I think I'm losing my voice a little bit. Horrible time to lose your voice. Barry is seen on video provided to CBI from the First National Bank. This is on Interlochen Boulevard and located adjacent to the McDonald's lot. He's carrying unknown items in his hands and placing items into 2 separate trash cans along the edge of the McDonald's parking lot. Barry, you forgot about the cameras. Forgot about the cameras. Thankfully, he forgot about the cameras. We can be thankful for that. Clearly, when he was listening to those true crime podcasts, they didn't talk about cameras. From the bank video, he exited the truck, walked to the trash can while he held an unknown smaller object in his left hand, possibly his right hand. He placed something in the can, extended his right arm downward into the can, and walked back to the open driver's door. Mine's green. If we're still having trouble and the year is not able to hear me read, we may as well not. Well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so they could keep reporting all they want. Barry was oriented towards the inside of the driver's door and the driver's side door for for the first few frames. He walked to the same trash can, possibly with an item in his right hand, extended his right arm into the can, then placed both hands and arms into the can. There's an attempt to have pictures here, but again, cannot make anything out. It's really light and really dark in some places. I can't even tell what it is. Thank you, Amber. Barry returned to the truck, oriented to the inner position of the driver's side door. After a few frames, he turned with his hands together and walked to a trash can across the lot. He returned to his truck and drove away. No. Why are you saying no video? Just comments. Oh, okay, I get it. Thank you, Amber. From 10:47 a.m. to 11:18 a.m., the location of Barry's phone was in or beside the lot of the Men's Warehouse in Broomfield. From 10:50 a.m. to 11:17 a.m., the driver and the passenger doors of the F-350 were open and closed at least 7 times in the parking lot near the Men's Warehouse. At 11:23 a.m., the location of Barry's phone and truck were at the Holiday Inn Express. 11:36, Barry walked into the hotel lobby wearing a black t-shirt, carrying under his left arm a black binder and disorganized papers. At 11:56 a.m., Barry exited his room wearing a white shirt and carrying the binder with the papers. And he walked to his truck at 11:57 a.m. Suzanne Morphew was. I don't know why you guys are having a problem. I honestly have no idea. Okay. At 11:57 to 12:25, Barry's phone was near the Via Vara work site for the wall. 12:06, he made an outgoing call to Redacted. From 12:28 to 12:29, the location of Barry's phone was the Holiday Inn Express. Telematics at F-350 also registered the driver's door opening and closing multiple times in the hotel parking lot. 12:36 p.m., Barry arrived at the hotel parking lot in his truck. He got out of the truck and carried one white trash bag, larger in size than the previous bags, in one hand. In the other hand, he carried a black container along with a green item, possibly a piece of clothing. At 12:38, Barry placed bags, a black container, and clothing from his truck besides the curb near the hotel lobby. This actually shows photos, so I can show you guys these photos. So we have him placing the items there, and then walking back to his truck here. That one is him carrying a bag, and I don't know where to. At 12:41, Barry walked back across the lot to the hotel lobby with nothing in his hands. At 12:42, he entered his hotel room, and he does not leave until 6:03 p.m. At 3:30, Barry sent an outgoing message to Suzanne stating, "Call me." At 5:13, Barry received an incoming call from Jean Ritter. At 5:45, Barry received another incoming call from Jean and Martin Ritter. At 5:57, the telematics of the F-350 registered GPS coordinates of the Holiday Inn parking lot. At 6:03 p.m., Barry exited his hotel room wearing a black shirt with his khaki backpack on his back. 6:05, Barry made an outgoing call to Martin Ritter. 6:06 p.m., Barry pulled his truck in front of the hotel and walked into the lobby before walking back out of the lobby at 6:08 p.m. And 6:09, Barry made an outgoing call to Morgan Gentile. 6:10, we have Barry entering the lobby carrying 2 shovels. Really, Barry? He entered the lobby carrying 2 shovels and placed them beside the front desk. He made subsequent trips, placing more tools in the same spot. And they got a picture of this as well. That's a lot of shovels, Barry. A lot of shovels. And there he is stacking them against the wall. 1 shovel not enough, Barry? At 6:12, Barry left the hotel lot in his truck. 6:20, he made an outgoing call to Redacted. 7:10, Barry received an incoming call from Redacted. 7:21, outgoing call to Suzanne. 7:33, dispatch called Barry and informed in a 1 minute and 32-second call that Suzanne's bike was indeed found. When asked to describe the bike, Barry did not know the make, but said it was blue with color. Colorful petals. Barry started crying and asked, "They found the bike?" He said he was heading that way and asked, Did they find the phone? Do you guys remember the video he did when he addressed everyone and begged for his wife's safe return? At the time when he knew Suzanne wasn't alive because he unalived her, allegedly. For those of you that don't know, we're going to pull it up because it was a very, very moving video until we found out what really happened.
If you're
Well, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, the girls need you. No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back so bad.
now, if you're like me,
Yeah. That video. I believe he even started a GoFundMe after that. I know. All right. We're only on page 41, guys. We have over 100 pages. I don't think we're going to get through all of them tonight. On May 28, 2020, Apple Inc. returned records pursuant to the search warrant for Suzanne's account. for email redacted. This was associated with an Apple account created on January 16, 2019. This account also listed Suzanne's name, address, and phone number. Apple provides a separate identifier known as a person's ID, which is understood to be unique to an individual subscriber. In those same Apple records, the person ID associated with Suzanne logged multiple updates to the application through the iTunes Store, including for both LinkedIn and WhatsApp applications, which we know she used on the regular. Hello, Kelly. This indicates that Suzanne had WhatsApp and LinkedIn installed on her device through May 9th, 2020, when the last update was logged for each. All right, now we have Suzanne's Verizon return. Per location coordinates received from the search warrant served on Suzanne's Verizon account, they determined that she traveled from Florida, staying in various hotels in Naples and Marco Island between the 31st of January and February 16th. She communicated primarily with Sheila Oliver, her bestie, Barry, Gene Mormon, and Kurt Sigler. On May 5th, 2020, Suzanne's texts and locations confirmed her trip to Gunnison to drop off redacted. I'm guessing that was the boyfriend. On May 6th at 8:44, Suzanne sent a text, "Good morning, I miss you already." Then her next message was to Barry at 10:13 a.m. stating, "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." And again, it was found deleted from Barry's phone. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to read because if I get you guys know how it is with my brain. I get sidetracked and I lose my spot and everything else. In a different turn, on May 6, 2020, from 2:43 to 5 p.m., Barry sent her unaliving texts. Self-unaliving text, which he deleted from his phone. So they only got him through Suzanne's phone records. On May 7th, Suzanne sent videos of the cat Lulu from inside the Morphew house and exchanged messages with her. On May 7th at 4:43, Suzanne messaged Barry, "Been studying all afternoon. I'm gonna bike now. I've got veggie soup on for supper." On May 8th at 7:02 a.m., Suzanne's notes folder was last backed up, wherein she articulated over 50 grievances against Barry, one of which refers to Barry accusing her on May 6th of having a boyfriend. On May 8th, 2020 at 8:43 a.m., Suzanne sent Barry the message, "Sorry, I forgot about Rob Mezzle last night, but I will continue to do your invoicing when you need to." On May 8th, from 9:01 to 9:28, Suzanne messaged Melinda Baumunk, in quotes, "It's hard dealing with the harsh abrasiveness and having to show respect. He's also been abusive emotionally and physically." Now we get into Suzanne's Instagram account. On the Saturday before the weekend Suzanne went missing, she posted an Instagram story video about her and Redacted, stating that Redacted always surprised her. Suzanne used the Instagram story to take photos to document each of her kids' bikes. Binford said that upon hearing that Suzanne went missing, she checked Instagram and found that Suzanne did not post anything about the ride. Binford knew that Suzanne was still grieving over losing her mother within the past 2 years or so. That Mother's Day was going to be a difficult day for her. Binford did not think that Suzanne would choose to spend that day without her girls and husband. I had a hard time with that one too. It was Mother's Day and she's not answering her calls or text messages or even being home. From a review of her Instagram account obtained through a search warrant in the state of Colorado, the attached pictures of her often in biking outfits were located with the dates. So we have all three right there. 506 on 2020 at 4:30, Little Rainbow Trail. 427 2020 at 4:36, Mount Chavano. April 20th, 2020, 2:18, with the location of the Methodist Mountains and the captions, "First single track and broke my first chain." Smiling emoji. It's clear they're setting a pattern here that she was keeping track of all of her biking, except for that day. Having problems? Mine shows green. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Okay. Per the Verizon warrant served on redacted cell phone, the following message was sent on May 10th, 2020 at 3:50 p.m., over an hour before Martin Ritter reported her missing. "I'm just so sad and redacted. And I texted Mom for Mother's Day and she still hasn't answered and I'm scared. Her and Dad probably got in a big fight and I don't even know. It just made me want to be gone even more because I don't want to be around them. It hurts me. And I know if redacted is working, I might have to be home a lot more. And it'll probably be the worst summer of my life." That is heartbreaking. To hear the girls talking about the fights between them. On May 13th, they took photos of scratches on Barry's left arm. I don't know why mine has been sitting green, so I'm not sure what the problem is. It's because I'm showing the picture and it's not moving. How many people are having problems with the connection here? Yeah, here it's hot and sunny. So it's not me. Not this time. Not this time. Well, we knew Suzanne would fight. Thank you. So on May 23rd, search teams along with K9 and K9 handlers searched the 19507 Puma Path property. During the search, 3 different K9s were used. Each of the 3 K9s were ran blindly and individually during the search on the west area of the driveway parking area, where a flatbed trailer and a Bobcat skid steer all parked. All 3 K9s trained final response alerted. The K9 used have been trained in a specific way to alert their handlers when they detect possible human decomposition or remains. It sure is, isn't it? You think it would share with the rest of us? On the top of the trailer. Okay, so they did detect on top of the trailer. It should be noted on the bed of the trailer, there is gravel and dirt. This is an area that the canines also alerted. All 3 canines again alerted on the bobcat, and one of the canines jumped into the bobcat and tried to lay down on the driver's seat. The bobcat located on the Morphew property is identified as a 2018 Bobcat Compact Skid Steer, model number S590, and product identification number of AR9R18813. The flatbed trailer and bobcat steer are parked directly next to each other. I know. It's seeing all the details broken down like this. It's a lot. This is from here. Let me put her picture back up. This is the case for Suzanne Morphew. Her husband Barry was just rearrested a few days ago. It's a 2018. He was just rearrested the other day. They had arrested him before, but right before trial was going to start, they dropped charges and said that they would pursue them again when they found her remains, and they did so, and some of us have been impatiently waiting, but the man was just arrested, and I have the video on my page. So these are the documents. A lot of documents and a lot of redacted, but we're trying here. On my computer. They're all the documents for his arrest. Exactly. And I always get sad when the canines lay down because you know what that means, right? All right, so then they have the Bobcat SIM removal on May 28th, 2020. Deputy Randy Carciato, with the assistance of the FBI, removed the SIM card, and it says in parentheses, subscriber identity module, from the Cali Amp device. This is the device Agent Graham learned about that Barry had on the Bobcat skid steer. This device utilizes Verizon Connect services and is a GPS tracking device. S.A. Hoyland spoke with S.A. Donati, all these names, and requested a search warrant to be applied for to obtain what data is on the SIM card and what it may contain. At present, Barry's use of the Bobcat does not appear to be connected to Suzanne's disappearance. This one's 131 pages. Yeah. 131 pages. This was the second one. Really? I was hoping that since they stood by him and he knew that they were gonna, arrest him again after they found her, I was hoping when they found her, he would get the balls to admit to them what happened so that they wouldn't be blindsided. They had already lost their mother and now losing their father too, and finding out, hey, he really did do it is just sickening. He did not prepare those girls at all. I got them in secret. It's a secret. On May 20th, 2020, Eurofiant served search warrants to Equifax and TransUnion to identify what credit accounts Suzanne and Barry would have currently or at the time frame of Suzanne's disappearance. You're fine. I just don't want to give away the source. This information was necessary to establish a pattern of life for both Suzanne and Barry, as well as proof of life for Suzanne. So they got into that bank account. Now, on May 28th, 2020, Equifax and TransUnion provided the following are open and active accounts for Barry and Suzanne. What happened? Well, Barry Morphew was just arrested for the murder of his wife that went missing in 2020 on Mother's Day. Okay, so here are the following accounts. Indiana Members Credit Union, Capital One / Cabela, Discover, Community Bank / Victoria's Secret, Fifth Third Bank, and Credit One. Your client has served warrants on these accounts, and the results are being compiled and analyzed by the FBI and private forensic accountant. And then it literally breaks down every account, but a lot of it's redacted. Let's see. That one doesn't tell us anything value-wise. The Collegiate Peaks Bank. Barry withdrew on May 26, 2020, $5,846.22 in the Suzanne Morphew Foundation account, which brought the balance to $0. The account was opened on March 5th, 2020, with a deposit of $5,880, so he drained it. That's the money they were talking about. Damn. I wonder what he used it for. Now we have a possible second device for Barry. On June 11th of 2020, your file received information from FBI S.A. Grusing with computer science Brian Turner that while reviewing the data from the cell phone extraction of Barry's iPhone, they found a second device. Identifier is redacted. It was associated with Barry's iPhone with an SMS at 3:43 on May 8th, 2020. Sneaky, sneaky Barry. This user ID is separate from the primary user ID and identifier. The second device was first used on November 30th of 2019 and was associated with Barry's iPhone 9 times since then, compared to 1,701 associates with the primary user ID since November of 2019. Dates this device was associated with Barry's iPhone since May 30th of 2020 is the 5th, the 10th, the 10th, the 11th, the 11th, the 11th, and the 12th. As of the present date, the second device has not been identified. So they got the data off of it, but the data that it was used, but nothing else. Now we have the FBI proof of life / fugitive search. Per the request of the FBI S.A. Grusing, with the assistance of the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, the following searches were done through the FBI and its federal partners in an attempt to locate Suzanne as if she was a fugitive or a missing person. On August 26, 2020, Agent Brian Palmer from Homeland Security Investigations, Denver, Colorado, checked border crossings as well. He provided the following text: I don't have any land border crossings for her. The last travel I have was her returning from San Jose, Mexico to Dallas, Texas on 12/2 of 2019 on American Airlines. It goes on to continue to talk about her travels. And her passport, everything. For checks in the internal FBI database, several financial related results on Suzanne and Barry were referenced from 2013 to 2018. It appears they had access to large amounts of cash. The reporting parties were concerned about money structuring. On June 4th, 2020, Barry made a $20,000 deposit at Collegiate Peaks Bank in Salida on Suzanne's behalf. He has a history of making large cash deposits and wire transfers. These same checks for Suzanne's proof of life were conducted on March of 2021 by the FBI with the same negative results. It goes on for CBI lab test results. This is on June 3rd, 2020. They were analyzing buccal swabs for the Morphew family members, Andrew Mormon and Redacted. No workable DNA was recovered from the Bobcat blade or the new dart box or the dryer. On August 31st, they reviewed the lab results for the CBI lab forensic scientist, Caitlin Rogers, to discuss results relevant in the affidavit. The following items were noted. The DNA on the bicycle seat included a mixture of 4 people, Suzanne being the primary, with Barry being the one of the responding CCSO personnel being included. The 4th male is unknown. The DNA on the bike grips included a DNA mixture of 4 people. Suzanne, Sergeant Molinek being primary contributors. Barry was excluded as a contributor. Hi, Leah. I'm good. How are you? Sorry, I'm reading the documents, so I'm laser focused. No, I'm not on the phone. I'm reading documents for Barry Morphew's arrest. A lot of documents. Lots of pages. Okay. Now, I remember that they had taken swabs from inside of her vehicle, thinking that there was a possible something there from somebody, but the front driver's door of the 2015 white Land Rover was tested and the DNA was consistent with samples from Barry and Suzanne. Absolutely love you too, Renee. They also had a plastic hypodermic cover. That one was from the dryer with low levels of partial DNA mixtures of 2 people, Suzanne and Redacted being possible contributors. Barry was excluded as being a contributor, which is interesting. A dart needle collected by CCSO contributed that the dart from the box in the garage was swabbed and partial DNA profile was developed with Barry included as a contributor with moderate support. The dart body collected by CCSO submitted as dart from box and garage was swabbed, and a low-level DNA profile reference that Redacted could have been a contributor. The interior cushions and the helmet were tested for DNA and partial profile was developed. The mixture was more likely to involve Barry and Suzanne than coming from anyone else by a factor of 6.2 times. All right, the next section is Barry's liquidation of assets. Within a month of Suzanne's disappearance, Barry began to liquidate their assets. Shocking. On June 1st, 2020, Barry petitioned for guardianship of Hamilton County, Indiana, of Suzanne for him to act as her guardian. This filing allowed Barry to sign documents on Suzanne's behalf and sell their residences in Indiana and Colorado. Redacted filed consent for guardianship. Below are some of the screenshots of the court documents. Okay, so this has the documents for the matter of guardianship for Suzanne as a missing person for Barry to have appointment. On June 6, 2020, Barry closed on the 26040 Kyle Carson Road, Arcadia, Indiana property with the closing price of $750,000. Your client served the Bank of the West a search warrant for accounts associated with Barry and Suzanne. For an account of Redacted, Barry Morphew Redacted, there is a deposit dated February 24th, 2020 for $40,000. On June 19th, 2020, there is a check written to Barry Morphew. The signer appears to be redacted in the amount of $30,000. He's just moving money left and right. On July 1st, 2020, Kat Townsend told your affiant that on June 25th, Barry paid $160,000 for the Lot 8 property of Longhorn Ranch in Salida. Barry sold this back to Townsend on February 17th of 21 for $150,000. On July 13th, 2020, Barry initiated a title change for Suzanne's Range Rover, selling it to Troy and Elizabeth Riley of Deputy, Indiana, on July 16th, 2020. He literally wasted no time. Just sold her vehicle. She's a missing person. He's begging for her back, and he's selling her vehicle, amongst many other things. On March 3rd, 2021, the Recorder's Office in Salida informed your affiant that they had just received a special warranty deed that the 19057 Puma Path had sold to Mountain Renewal LLC for $1.625 million. Whew. That's the actions. All these are all the actions of an innocent man, right? I think he would be smarter than that. Huh. Yeah. Now it goes to May 14th, 2020. This is the CBI, and they conducted a consensual recorded interview with Morgan Ann Gentile of Salida, Colorado, where she stated that around July of 2019, she returned to Salida and started working at Diesel Constructions. She first met Barry through DSI, and they have worked together frequently. In January 2020, Morgan was terminated from DSI over allegations she used illegal rugs. Though she asserted she did not use rugs, after she was terminated, Barry hired her as a contractor for his company, Sunset Farms Landscaping. Oh yeah, he sure did. I was wondering if anyone was going to remember that. He sure did. It was shortly after he did that video where he pleaded for his wife's safe return and that he would pay any amount. He sure did. He sure the hell did. It goes on to say that Barry frequently talks to Morgan about his two daughters. He has never spoken of any marital or other family issues. Barry told Morgan about the Broomfield job sometime mid-April 2020, stating that the job was supposed to take place between April 23rd and April 30th. However, she was not sure of the exact date. Barry then changed the job to take place on or about the first week of May. He then rescheduled the job to begin May 11th, 2020. Slippery little sucker. Morgan stated on May 8th that Barry picked her up from Anytime Fitness. They traveled to a job site at 6962 County Road in Salida. They arrived at around 8 a.m., completed a Rock Beach project, and left. At around 11 a.m., Barry took her back to her vehicle by Anytime Fitness. Anybody thinking what I'm thinking here? Let's see. Yeah, 100%. He just picks her up from a fitness place and brings her back there to her car. That's not suspicious at all. Not one bit. Whew. Okay. He paid her in cash when he brought her back to her vehicle and left. Morgan stated that Barry mentioned he was going to go hiking or biking. Thank you. Thank you. Barry was supposed to pick Morgan up at 5:30 on Sunday, May 10th, to drive to a hotel in Broomfield. Cassidy Cordova was supposed to drive up separately and meet them on Monday, May 11th, 2020. Why are you meeting all these women in parking lots and taking them to hotels? And paying them in cash. Morgan stated that around 4 a.m. on May 10th, she was confident she heard Barry's F-350 drive eastbound past her house on Highway 50. Morgan stated that she did not see the truck, but that his truck has a very distinctive exhaust. At about 11:18 a.m. on the 10th, Barry called Morgan and explained she needed to bring an additional person because of the amount of work needed to repair the wall. She agreed she would bring another contractor, Jeff Puckett. Barry never provided an explanation why he left early and why he did not pick her up. Morgan stated she later picked up Jeff and drove towards Broomfield. At about 6:09 p.m., Barry called and said he had a family emergency and he had to return to Salida. And we know that in that hotel room is where he remained for hours, so. Barry had left the tools at the hotel and said he would call her the next day. On May 11, 2020 at 7 a.m., Barry called Morgan and said that Suzanne was missing and he thought a mountain lion may have attacked her. Morgan explained that Barry was initially crying but then abruptly shifted to the specifics about the Broomfield job. Why isn't what working? Can you guys hear me? I'm green. Again. Okay. Thank you. You can't help but wonder if he's a sociopath. To go from crying about your wife and then just specifically switching and being completely fine and talking about work. It's creepy. Morgan adamantly denied that there was ever any type of sexual relationship between her and Barry. This was Suzanne Morphew. She went missing on Mother's Day of 2020. Her husband, Barry, was just rearrested and charged with her murder. No, I'm right here. I don't know why so many of you are saying you're losing me. This is really frustrating. The whole point of me reading this was so that you guys could hear it. I have his arrest video on my page. I don't know what it is. Should I restart and see if that helps? Right when it works. All right, I'll restart, or I'll end it and instantly restart it. So just give it a minute and then we'll be right back here, guys. Hopefully it fixes whatever the hell the problem is. Okay, we'll be right back, guys.